Good morning, guys. Robert, Travis, and Marcy, if you're listening too. Just want to go over real quickly the movement that AirMac Aerial Imaging is doing to our new drone deploy platform. I shared with Travis yesterday that we're consolidating all of our workflows and our workspaces into drone deploy, where I think we showed you before that we were working across 4 different platforms. Drone deploy was one of them. On a much smaller scale, we were working in Pix4D and a platform called Maps Made Easy, and then also DJI Terra. But we made a business decision to move everything to drone deploy. Drone deploy is the most widely accepted, most universally used aerial imaging reality capture platform in the world. So when you guys speak to somebody, if they know what they're talking about drone deploy, and that's the platform that Marshall County is using with your drone team, which would be us, hopefully, then everyone will know what you're talking about. So just know that about drone deploy. So in the UI, as we gradually move our stuff over here, what we would have for you would be every one of your assets would have its own workspace. And we've gone ahead and captured several already. And I'm going to hit a couple of examples. You all would have uniquely your login, and your login would cover the only thing that you would see. It wouldn't be cluttered with anybody else's or any of our projects. You would just see Marshall County Rural Water District 2, and you'd have your own login, and it would be limited to that. So, and then you would have these tiles that would be the most current versions of whatever we've developed for you out there. And we're thinking that on a fairly routine basis, we go out there and just create updates for you. But let me go ahead and run through the user interface. We call it UI, the user interface, the UI, with you and show you. I'll just pick Lake Road. It was a pretty good example. Had just about everything in it that we would want. You would click on the tile for that particular one. I'm just going to run through real quickly the layout here, so you'll know what the assets are or what how to navigate the UI. So the map, the satellite map, would look like this. This is I'm going to go over this left menu first. Better yet, tell you what, let's go through the very top menu just very quickly. You've got the fly, which is essentially the flight plans that we do out there. They're up here, and you guys will have complete control of this. And I would just say, please don't change anything that you see in the fly area. Upload is for new data. I can show you how to do that. If somebody's out on site that's not us and wants to put something else in the system, they can, uploading it that way. And you guys would work off the explore area. There is a report area if you wanted to generate some particular or some specific reports, and we can talk about those later specifically in something that's unique to reports, but things like stockpiles and volumes of dirt on the ground or whatever. I don't think it'd apply to you very often, but explore is going to be the area of this top menu that you'll use the most often. So, and then over here we have the different switches that you can add and subtract different things that we've developed for you, add them to or take them away from the map. We haven't done any overlays, but if we did, say there was like a plan, a real estate plan, or if we were going to build another tower and there was some sort of a CAD drawing, you want to put another tower side by side. I'm kind of thinking about Enos Road as an example, where you have a tower here and then one over here, where you would want to put that plan in there before that tower actually existed, or some sort of an additional development plan. That's what overlay would be. Locations is going to be something that won't really apply to us, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. The map is going to be where the good things start for you guys, and that's going to be the maps that we've developed for you. In other words, the reality capture, the real-time things that the aerials that AirMac does for you guys. And so within each map, there's data that tells a lot about it, how it was captured, and one of the most important things I think is the accuracy report, to know how closely accurate it is. And so we use a process called RTK, which is a survey grade GPS. It's mounted on our enterprise drone, and it's basically the same accuracy level that you would get with a ground survey. So ground surveys also use RTK, but this will give you the date of the map, how many images were captured, et cetera, et cetera. And so going back over here, plant health isn't really going to apply to us, but that's something we can talk about later. It's interesting when the fall comes. Cut field we won't use much. That's for excavation. Elevation is pretty handy. It essentially shows you this will create a heat map. And I'll come back to that in a minute, but this will create a heat map for drainage, and you can see the elevations that are there, what direction the water is going to go, and this is all variable on this grid here. And then panos, this down here in the media area, this is where the different additional assets that we've placed in the map are available to you, and you can get them either by clicking on like the pano here, for example, is a panoramic shot, or you can find the panoramics by just clicking out here on the map. There's 2 total that are in our view. Like one, and we had this while we were doing this for you guys, kind of developing these demonstrations. We shot of the towers that we've done and the assets that we've done for you guys. We've done a panoramic in the northwest and the southeast corner, or offsets from each of the assets, each of the water towers. You could ultimately do one in each direction. They are pretty neat to look at, and they're telling. It really gives you a great idea of what the land around your tower looks like. It also gives you a really good view of the tower itself. And these are shot in HD. They're zoomable. So if you wanted to get a down close and personal, of course you could. And that's me down there. So that's what the panoramics look like. Great for just a general inspection of the area. We'll get into the more detailed inspection here in just a minute, because we can get really granular, really looking for little bolts and pieces of rust and anything you want on a tower, we can find it. But anyway, that's what the panoramics look like. The photos that are shot that are individual on each of the towers, we've done just kind of a broad set of thermals. So you'll have detailed shots of the towers themselves, and these are very detailed. These are high definition, and they're zoom in and zoom outable. We've done some general thermals, essentially showing the water level of the towers we've done so far. We looked at the roofs of the towers. We've done roof inspections. This one looks fantastic, by the way. And then we've done a thermal of the roofs as well, just looking for any kind of a hot spot that might pop. In this case, we can vary the color palette on our thermals, and we have it set so that red is hot and black is cool. So, and obviously this is a little bit warmer than the water, so you can see the gray here and the black here. This would be the water level on the tower itself. And then up here, you can see that there's not any hot spots at all, so that thermal looks great. We also have the capability of doing a side-by-side thermal, so that when we shoot it this way, it also comes out, or shoot it at this angle and this thermal, that it also comes out with an equivalent shot that's in the RGB, just the standard red, green, and blue, standard photographic, color photo. So put them side by side. But anyway, back in the menu, that's what you would see when you go into the photos area of the media. So the towers, we'll call them as tower portraits for now, for lack of a better term, then the thermals that apply. Clicking back on photos, and then videos, same thing. For each one of the towers, we're also preparing a video that's something that goes around the circle of the tower. And I'm saying tower in this case, but this would be for any asset that we do for you guys. It can be something out at Rick Smith. We could be looking at a particular tank, or a surface water storage facility, whatever it is. This would be a 360 that goes all the way around the tower. It kind of comes in and out a little bit, sort of oscillates forward and backwards while it orbits. So I'm not going to let that play the whole time. But anyway, that's how you get to it. And obviously, you can go forward and backwards. If there's some view that means something extra to you, that's you see something you want to zoom in on, you can. If we make any annotations on the map at all, then that's what the markup would be. I'm going out of the media now down into the markup area. So annotations would be things that you could add yourself. Say a measurement. We wanted to know the distance between, let's say, here and the road itself. This is just an example. Doesn't mean anything. But that would become an annotation, all right? So, and then you click on that and add something that means something to you. Let's just say road distance. We'll take this away in a minute. I just want to show you how it works. Okay, and then you would, if that's what you want to say and you want it to show up there, then that's the way it would work. It also, at the same time, also gives you the distance that you've measured, and it gives you the elevations that you crossed with that measurement. So closing it there, and now you have two annotations rather than the one, and one is going to be the road distance that we just put on there. Then I'll click it, it'll bring it up. And then if you're done with that, you don't want that up on the map anymore, then you would just delete that with this little button up here. Okay. Then, so that's the high points of this, and there's a lot that I can share with you that'll a lot more detailed, but that's sort of the generalities. So going around the other tools, we're looking at the 2D version now. This switch up here is the 2D and the 3D version. So if we want to get into some really I don't know, stuff that you might be able to examine a little more closely, go to the 3D view, and there's a low definition and a high definition of the 3D view, and depending on how fast your computer is or your internet connection is, then you can vary that. This will allow you to cut or just move around on that shot that we've done. And this does cut out the background map and produces only from the data that we've acquired, that AirMac has generated for you. And this can be zoomed in and out too. So, and then within this view, you can put your elevations on or off. That'll put the heat map back up there, which really kind of helps to figure out which way the water is going to drain, if that matters. If you get ready to do a construction or whatever, or do some sort of enhancement. But then you can also turn on contours in the area. And the contours are variable. You can set your major contours, your minor contour distances. We have these set at 3 foot for your major contours and 1 foot for your minors. The colors can be changed from black to white. So if it's too cluttered, and it's going to measure pretty much anything that's in there. So obviously it's going to measure your tower too. If you want to know how high or low anything is, but this is just good to know that the contours are going to be there on the 3D view. So annotations can still be turned on and off. So if you had drawn something in there, like a distance or a square around something, that's going to be able to be turned on and off. I think the most important message that I would say here is what our reality capture in Drone Deploy and AirMac allows you guys to do is to go beyond what you would do with human beings and the views and the ability to look at your assets and inspect the assets for condition and planning purposes. It just raises the level of what you guys can do dramatically, and lowers the amount of risk to you by putting a human being on top of the tower. I know you guys are super skilled and trained and able to do that all the time, but it's nice not to have to do that on every tower, and to have just something that's current out there all the time at your fingertips. So anyway, that's the 3D view. This box here tells you kind of the directions that you're looking at. And the west, for example, west is down here. It's the direction at the bottom of the map. South, north, etc., etc. So if there's multiple generations of a map in there, then let's go back to 2D. If there's multiple generations of a map, then this tool here will allow you to do a comparison. An example there would be, say for example, we spot some rust on the top of the tower. We do have some we found on one of the other towers. I think it was on Knob Road. Excuse me. But if you're trying to see how quickly that was aging, you could put, say we're going out there every 60 days or something like that, whatever the frequency is that we decide on. You could put 60 days apart or 90 days apart or whatever it is on one side and on the other, and then you could see the size of that rust and how it's growing or not growing, and it's zoomable. And when you zoom in one side, it's going to zoom in the other. And because our system allows us to fly exactly the same points over and over again, then everything will line up perfectly. So let's just say, for example, we found what we thought was a piece of rust on one of these, and we wanted to quantify, the size in one of them. Then we could draw like a polygon on top of the spot where we think there might be a rust issue, like this. Okay, and then that'll become an annotation. Then we could mark it rust 1 and leave it there, and we'll know the size of it, and we'll just leave it there, from now on. And then we come back 3 months later or 1 month later, or we'll look at it whatever period of time it is in the future. Then that is captured as well. And then if we find it's bigger, then we can look at it again and see how it's changing or not changing. I mean, we might find there's a rust spot that's completely stable and doesn't really need to be addressed. Doesn't need attention right away or in any time in the near future. So just kind of apply that the way you want to. And then again, when we're ready to remove that, then we would just take that annotation down here and we would click the go away button and it's gone. So the other tools that are over here, the other measurement tools, allow for volumetric. And for example, if you had a pile of brush that was out here, you want to know how big it was, and you want to know vertically, it'll apply the contour data and the volume, the side, the perimeter data, and put that together. And with AI, we'll crunch exactly how much it weighs, how large it is, blah blah blah. So if somebody's put a stack of junk out there and it's going to block your access, you'll be able to know just by looking at this whether or not you'll be able to get into the tower, say with a dozer or whatever it is that you need to do. Okay, shifting gears to one other subject. This is the nighttime capability we also wanted you to know we had over on photos. This is the Texoma Hills Tower. This is what a nighttime shot would look like. One of our drones has directable spotlights, and they're super bright. This would be great if we had to do something in the middle of the night to be able to get up on a tower. Basically have a really bright light in the sky. Okay guys, just a wrap up here, one last view on the 3D. We mentioned some of the capabilities of the thermal versus the regular imaging, and the 3D kind of all meshed together to find spots of where that might need to be addressed. It's kind of cool to be able to do without having to climb on top of your tower. This is Knob Road, and we've got a little bit of rust starting to set up there. And a really good way to look at that is, of course, with the 3D. You can get a really great idea of what it looks like with the 3D for sure. But then also, when you go back over to the 2D view and then go to the photos, those are going to give you a great indication of what that actually looks like, because we do the regular photos, the RGB plus the thermals together. So it lets you get a great idea of what how much wear you're really looking at, and if it's something that needs to be addressed, or if it's something just starting out and can wait. This is the thermal set over in the imaging. We, again, photo group 1 would be your portrait type stuff, your straightaway shots, to just general condition, essentially a portrait of your tower. But then the photo with the thermals, and depending on what we find, sometimes there might be 5 or 6 there, but then there might be a lot more. In this case, because we did find a little bit of rust, we went ahead and shot quite a few more. And so a great angle to look at the top would be down in here, and you can see what the top actually looks like and zoom in. Get a really great idea. And then when you compare that to the thermal version of that, over here, you can see that we do in fact have quite a bit of heat that's setting up here. And the more orange is the hotter. This is the cooler. Of course, black down here, we didn't worry about that, but this would be your water level. And so, we do find for sure that this area here is definitely getting warmer than this area here. When you compare it over with the other, you'll find that that's where the area is that the rust is setting up to. So anyway, just good to know, and good inspection tools for you. So I'm going to wrap it up here, but if there's any other questions, and I hope there are, just let me know, and we can work together on how to navigate the system best. And right now, this is just a video I'm making just for the 3 of you guys, and it's a temporary thing, so we're going to have it on our YouTube channel, and then we're going to delete it in just a few days, and then build you something that's a little bit more specific to your needs. But this is more just kind of an introduction of the way to navigate the system. So I hope it's useful to you guys. Talk soon.